You think you can? I'd rather do.
No, I gotta go to rep and cover development. So I'm giving my local thing some development notes. Shut up, Doug.
Shut up, Doug. Any fresh?
Is Scotty going?
No, supposedly they didn't want to like use what this to be thing now.
Which is fine, but like, I was shocked that he didn't go for the first one. Like his son.
He's not that good thing. That's
For the first thing.
I mean, he probably watched. Oh, I'm sure. He tested, he tweets the whole time.
Oh, really does? He
Yeah.
does?
I love that.
Yeah.
I love Scott.
Scott's awesome.
Scott was the first person I met when I came to
Nah, he's awesome. He probably talked to you for 30 minutes. He probably talked to you for 30 He probably talked to you for 30 minutes.
Yeah.
No, I know what you
Testing
mean.
for yourself.
Yeah.
I know when you could go to the house and give you
Yeah.
You're putting us on TV.
Exactly.
You're good.
It was here, you can see the button machine, so you had to sit down on your inner spot.
It was good.
Restaurants?
No, on the floor. You were out on the floor, you were not allowed to get out. You had to stay
Midway.
Midway.
11:32 left.
Everybody roots my Hurricanes 3 years.
I know,
Hey.
yeah, I didn't realize the start
My
about
ACC.
The ACC, baby.
I rather them than ACC than Michigan.
Beat 0-0 at the half. That was crazy.
The defense.
Two missed kicks within 30.
As long as Carson doesn't have to throw interceptions, he might be all right.
No, I didn't want Carson to go to my school. I covered him when I was in Georgia. As long as he wins this game, I'm good.
I was like, he's not throwing picks, man. He's not bad.
Just one game would be okay.
He just throws a lot of interceptions.
He's trying to get the actual goal.
Well, this quarterback has been corrupt stuff. Outside of Mendoza and the old
All his face, and it's like, okay.
I said he does. More he goes back to school.
I think Cannon's a little overrated anyway.
Their defense is
Oh, no, the defense, no,
He
the
can go
defense
back.
is.
But
But
he
That's
started
already
at
called away from
UCLA.
Yeah.
His freshman, then he transferred to Oregon, sat behind Bo last year, or Gabriel last
He
year.
didn't know the thing, but also being an
So
ACC.
he can't do it.
So,
Yeah, last year, redshirt.
Once that
He
goes-
can do that, but
my Hurricanes.
he doesn't do that. He might come out.
Here's the thing, if they would have loved them the
Because
entire time, I would
How many
have
times in the NFL did he
because
quarterback?
BYU
Not
lost.
much.
Miami jumped a spot and then the argument.
Raiders were number two.
Yeah.
But they were the whole time. I understand.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah, they shouldn't have to do that.
He might decide to go
I
back.
keep seeing like
Hey,
people
watch.
keep sending me that screenshot of the A&M game when the guy just like thrown to the ground.
Well, they're not taking it.
They're
They're not.
right now.
That's straight.
They're playing the
Because
impossible
Mendoza is the only one that like people really.
I did say I wish we could have seen the Notre Dame
Outside of that, it's kind of.
That would be interesting.
yeah, with the,
The gold and
yeah, with the sprinkle
Oh
around
my
it.
God.
Yeah.
Talking
about them going to the pros.
Oh my God. All right, you might win. You might win.
It's not gonna be that want to go.
See, it's the start sheet.
Well, then I'll rich people want it.
That's how sometimes.
Yeah.
That's how I got to know.
Hey,
They were linking him to the Giants.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, how could you?
I thought Dable was a good coach.
But no, that's like.
He didn't have one quarterback.
No. Yeah, but you got a young quarterback. Hopefully you get,
You need a quarterback coach to teach him that it's okay to go out of bounds. Not dive head first.
but you hopefully get the Scatabo back healthy.
It's gonna be
Their
the
defense,
most.
I
It's
think,
gonna be
is
the
great.
yeah.
They have playmakers.
They got a hell of a receiver, and I mean, they got the parts there.
It's gonna be such a fun 5 years.
I was there.
And then it's gonna be horrible because they're
Well,
just gonna try to get it to.
because Gladway and Randall Parks.
Scatterbo's got maybe 5, 6 years.
Because then.
Oh,
No, he's
I don't.
got 3.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
the same coach, but.
Did you see any of the videos from him at Arizona State?
That's like so true. Just him headbutting the wall.
But that's when he was watching.
Yeah, so Dylan, I think, was in 3. I think last week. I think both of them were in, like, let's call it this. And both of the coaches were like, we're gonna slash this at least 3
Yeah,
hours.
so that has to be the most entertaining
You know, I'm telling you.
Russell Wilson, James
Oh,
Jackson, James at one point, I remember seeing the preseason thing with what's his name? It's crazy.
All right, we will go ahead and open it up for questions for Isaac and Samantha.
Could you just talk about your performance? Why were you able to be so successful? You're more aggressive, or what?
I think my teammates did a great job finding me my right actions. I feel like I got so many lobs today. I feel like every action I was just, when I was open, my teammates were able to find me. And especially big shout outs to the guys who stepped up when both point guards were out today. And they just did an amazing job sharing the ball between each other, creating a lot of assists, a lot of easy points for me.
Rashawn and Michael.
If you guys could both just kind of talk about what practice has been like the last several days since the Tennessee loss, and what's the energy been like? What's kind of been the focus leading up to today's game?
Well, we always want to have good energy in practice. You know, obviously nobody wants to lose, but even when you lose, you got to come back the next day with fiery energy. We didn't. We had to watch the film. Obviously there was a lot of bad things. There were some good things, but a lot of bad things that we could work on, and we knew that. And, a big emphasis for us the past couple days was getting the bigs involved, like this guy. And I thought we did a good job of that today. 18 points for Sananda. Like, we got to continue to do that. He's one of the best lob threats in the country. He's good with his back to the basket. So we got to continue to get him, Zoo, Ali, get him the ball. And especially with our 2 point guards out, they were kind of like the point centers on the court, So that was a big emphasis for us, and I thought we did a good job of that today.
Isaac, it seemed like offensively in the first half, at least for the first 15 minutes, you guys were kind of sluggish on the offensive end, trying to get shots to fall, and then you kind of got hot. Could you just talk about that stretch, which kind of ignited that 17-0 run to finish the half?
Yeah, I mean, it's always good to see your first one go down, and, I saw the first one go down, so it kind of gave me a shot of confidence. The past couple games for me have been rough, shooting-wise, so it was good to see a few go down today. But, we talked about we didn't have our point guards today, so, RC was playing some point guard. I was even playing point guard. I played point guard since high school, so a lot of changes today, a lot of different lineups, bigger lineups. So we kind of just took us a while to get in the flow of things. But once we did, I thought our offense was good.
Sananda, if you could just kind of talk about it, the fact that Isaac just mentioned it, playing with more big guys in there, just that chemistry of you working with Zoo or Ali. How did that? I'm guessing you all have been practicing that this week. How's that going? How'd you feel that went today?
Like I said, I felt went pretty good. Like I said, the guards were out, so a lot of players stepped up. We had a lot of big lineups with Kelsey, me, Kanai, Vaughn, and Zoo, and Ali on the court, and I felt we matched pretty good. There's still some stuff to work on for us, but I saw if we more often on the court together and also practice more, and we're looking pretty good, I would say.
When you talk about getting at the bigs more involved, was it kind of a matter of bringing in some different schemes or I guess kind of like actions to get you the ball more, or is it just kind of like putting putting more of an emphasis on making sure that you guys get the ball?
It was both. Coach put emphasis on both. He said we're going to put some actions in that makes us pass it to the bigs, but also just put an emphasis on if you have an opportunity and see a big inside ceiling, just throw it in there, give them chances. It helps the team create some off-ball movement as well. And our goal isn't to give the ball to the big, hey, yo, just score. It just creates a lot of movement outside also to create open shots for teammates.
Just what was your perspective on the loss on Tuesday night? Obviously some of the big takeaways from that, we're needing to step up physically, and just kind of, how did you think the team grew from that game into this performance today?
We just didn't play our game against Tennessee, and that showed a lot. And then the issue when Kobe went out and we missed out 2 guards and we had some little issues in the point guard position. But the last 2 days we were working very hard as a team, staying together, staying connected. And like I said, having these guys stepping up and to come out here and show out and show who we are and play our way. And that's how we did it.
A couple things. Do you think we'll see more of the emphasis on the inside game going into the ACC? That's one. And then how do you handle it when you have a couple bad games like you had, bad shooting games?
Yeah, to answer your first question, 100%, it worked out for us today. Like I said, this guy's one of the best lob threats in the country. Ollie's the best passer in the country. We got to get those guys the ball, and we'll continue to do that. I think it just makes our offense a lot better when we let them touch the ball and make plays for us. And then what was your second question? How you
handle when you have a couple bad shooting
Yeah. As a shooter, it's all just mental. I know the reps that I put in. I know the work that I put in. So, when I have an off shooting game, I always think the next shot's going in, no matter what. So that's what you have to do as a shooter in college basketball. So I just always think the next one's going in. Just keep shooting it with confidence, because that's what this team needs me to do. So.
Isaac, if you could just kind of talk about, with Michael being gone for these couple of games, he's been the primary facilitator. With you guys being out there having to generate more offense for your teammates, do you think this is an opportunity for you guys to grow as playmakers?
Yeah, 100%. The coach has kind of been on me to be more of a playmaker, especially since Michael and Kobe have been out. RC's been doing a great job. Woolley, he's been doing a great job. He had 4 or 5 assists tonight. Big emphasis has just been touching the paint and then spraying, making plays for others. And, when you're down 2 point guards, other guys got to step up. We have a next man up mentality. No matter who goes down with injuries, no matter who's out, we always next man up. So just continue to make plays for others as well.
As you guys get ready for a holiday break coming up here, do you think you're going to have more emphasis on how to play without Michael and adjusting to being point center and kind of taking those point guard roles rather than maybe adjusting for Michael, if that makes sense?
Yeah, I mean, I'm hoping Michael will be back by then. You know, we all do. You know, we miss him for sure. He's an amazing player, but you know, you got to be prepared for everything. So, you know, the past couple of days we've been practicing without him. You know, putting different people at point guard. Javon's been playing some point guard. You know, getting the bigs involved as our point center, like I said earlier. Just different ways to get the offense rolling. You know, because you never know who's going to be out at any given time. So in practice, we always have all kinds of different lineups that we practice with to help us for situations like that.
Anything else for these guys? Awesome. Great. Thank
Merry
you.
Christmas.
All right, while we wait for Pat, in the spirit of Christmas and Coffee Crisis 2025, I've got 3 gift cards to give away to the lovely media members who stayed for the press conference. So, I wrote everybody's name down. Connor.
Woo woo!
It's 1. Tony.
Tony.
It's 1. Yes. And Michael McCammon. Okay, I have Quells and Sundergoes and Piney Bros. So if anyone has a preference, you can fight over them.
Which one you want?
You're welcome. Thank you.
Appreciate that.
Merry Christmas. Okay. Go see how Mr. Kelsey's doing. Yeah, I come back Christmas Eve. Christmas Eve off and stay. I work 26, 27, 28. And then we're gone. We red eye back on the 2nd, so technically back here.
Okay.
And do physical at 6.
Yes. Yes, they do. Hear it all.
And India keeps winning.
You a little back. Yeah, which one is this?
Yeah, I know. Perfect. Like, that's great.
Team with the Heisman Trophy.
That stuff is great.
On the show, Sunday night.
Okay. Hey, I mean, hey, do it. Get you the roof, folks.
Yeah, 'cause I've never been to Christmas.
Yeah.
I'm very good at it.
I want to go my first flight to Vegas coming in.
That's okay.
It was in January, so it wasn't blazing hot. It wasn't crowded.
Carson said one for heat.
And then I went to LA. That's pre-COVID. It was cool. Like,
I'm excited to see all get in on on Monday. And then I'll work
so we do.
They need that.
we don't have a ton of time.
Yeah.
Because there's not really
Make our life look a little bit better.
And so that first day, we're getting like an hour, and then we'll have a whole day to like
You think Tulane could upset Ole Miss or James Madison could upset?
Why not the Dukes? Yeah. Well,
It's a lot of stuff. Like when I went in.
One of them is gonna
Yes.
come upset.
Or get it close.
yeah, I
And
I like Tulane and Ole Miss because they held Ole Miss scoreless
resources, not resources you have.
Let's say tonight.
It's way
Still feels like so tired.
NIL money and all that.
That's what I'm saying as well. That's what
How's
they
it
were
matched
saying.
NIL as well?
That's what I'm saying. I heard they
But
they got close
you're
to
going to
that.
you got a better shot of winning the national title with LSU.
You want to
than
the
Colts.
crew wants to go to the somewhere because
Now, they're not the number
they were like
one
the
in
same
the
guy.
state
Like they know each other. Like it's like so like around 24 hours came to win.
I just don't know how it keeps getting away with it. You know,
So like
as
so
players
Hunter
are
was
like,
texting me,
maybe this time he'll really step to
Yeah.
I heard it sounded like he talked to me. It was like in a warped like dimension of the picture.
If everybody's ready, we will have Coach Kelsey start us off with an opening statement.
I think Travis has been at Montana for a long time, and they've been kind of the gold standard in that league for a long time. They've been to multiple NCAA tournaments. Got to really dive into like his coaching and his team over the last couple days in preparation for this game, and I have a lot of respect for him. He's a really good coach. You know, those games right before Christmas, I don't want to say like, you know, trap games. I hate saying that, but you always worry a little bit about your guys already, you know, having sugar plums dancing in their heads and stuff like that. But our process was really good. Obviously, coming off that loss at Tennessee, you know, I knew we'd have their attention, but I never worry about that with this team. They're always professional in their approach, and they gave this team the respect they deserve in preparation. And overall, I thought we did a good job of carrying out the game plan. You know, I kind of reminded those guys in the locker room how, you know, on June 5th we come together and we have this PowerPoint presentation, and you know, I hit the clicker and then each segment of the season pops up, and I tell those guys to be fully present where you are. And you know, the first one is summer 1, check. Summer 2, check. Then it's August, September pre-practice, check. And then it's the 6 weeks of practice before preseason games start, check. And then it goes to non-conference, which we just finished, check. And I tell those guys all the time, like, don't blink, be present, enjoy the journey, enjoy your teammates, because it goes so fast. I told them you're going to be old like me in the snap of a finger. So wherever you go to play next at the professional level, it's never, ever, ever going to be like it is in college. You know, that connection to the student body, to your teammates. Once you get out in the professional world, it's just different. And, you know, the next one was checked off today, and we played a tough non-conference schedule. I told them I felt like we left some meat on the bone and wish we could have a couple games back. But if you would have told me with the schedule we're playing, hey, you're 10-2 going into Christmas, you know, I'm never satisfied unless we win every single stinking game. But I did tell them in that locker room, because I don't think they hear it from me enough, that I am very proud of them. I'm proud to coach them. It's a great group, very talented. Sky's the limit for them, and I am unrelenting in being the CRO, as I've told you guys before, and that's the Chief Reminder Officer, to remind those guys what our standard is every day. And sometimes it could probably feel like I just am never, ever, ever, ever satisfied. But we've done some really good things, and we have great things ahead of us. I told them the next thing is to get their minds right, get their bodies right, spend time with family, enjoy the holidays. It's a special, special time of the year. We're celebrating the birth of the miracle of God becoming man and Jesus walking the face of the earth and saving us all from our sins. So I'm excited to spend some time with our family. When our guys get back, I told them, do what you got to do to step foot back in that practice facility when we get going and be, have your mind and your body ready to be the best you've ever been. And it's a fun journey to be on with these guys. It's a fun journey to be on it with our fan base in this great city of Louisville. And I think there's great, great things ahead over the next several months. But Merry Christmas to you guys all, too.
How much of what happened at Tennessee had to do with your game plan today, going inside more and getting more out of your big people and so forth?
Yeah, we addressed that. We just talked about we got to get them more involved and get them some touches in a lot of different ways. And then I reminded them, too, that one way for them to get as many passes as they want to them is to go eat the offensive rebounds. So part of it was us getting those guys more involved, but part of it was those guys going in being very, very selfish on the backboard. It's the one time in the game that you can be selfish. Go get every single rebound. I will never say, hey, let that one go. Get every one. So, but yeah, that was an emphasis over the last couple days.
Coach, with Michael being out these couple of games, it puts the onus on these other guys to really create a lot of the offense and generate the paint touches. Do you think that this makes the team better in the long run because they don't have him to lean on and that talent?
I mean, we're a team. Like, next man up. People get injured. People get hurt. That's why we have 13 guys on scholarship. You mentioned Kobe. We didn't have Michael or Kobe. That's our point guard and our backup point guard. We didn't have either one of them. Don't blink. Hey, Javon, go play the point. Gotcha, coach. That's just how it is, and that's how it'll always be. There's zero excuses and zero explanations. Figure it out. And last two games, Ryan has been asked to change roles. He's been very ball dominant. He's been, he's had the ball in his hands. He's been the point guard. He's been the table setter. He plays some point for us, but he hasn't done it a lot. And Javon Hadley, who is one of the best Swiss Army knives I've ever coached. Javon's just that guy that, you could put him at the 1, the 2, the 3, the 4, and the 5. And you could call any one of our set plays, and he would go run it perfectly. It's just how he is, and that's a luxury of having a guy like that. And when your lineups are all screwed up like that, you don't have your 2 point guards. I mean, and we're intricate in the things we run, and now all of a sudden we're in a baseline out of bounds, and Javon has to know the things that the 1 does. Got it, coach. I mean, that's just being accountable and being a great teammate, and takes pride in it. He takes pride being that guy that, man, plug me in anywhere, and then I'll go do it. So if anybody goes out, you mentioned the question about Michael, but any player on our team went out, the other guys would have to step up, change the role a little bit, and we wouldn't make any excuses or give no explanations about why this guy didn't play or this guy didn't play. It's like everybody's expect to be ready when their name's called. And I thought our guys did a good job of that today, and then did a pretty good job at Tennessee. Obviously, we had to be better, but a lot of lessons learned from that.
Coach Isaac's shot hasn't been falling for him lately. Can you talk about his mindset and coming into the game and how big that was for him to kind of spark the 17-0 run?
Yeah, I mean, I think great shooters like Isaac, Ryan Conwell's like that, Rain Smith was like that. They think different. They don't think like normal human beings. It's like, I've said this before, they have like the shortest memory that you could possibly have. Like, great shooters are like and I don't know, my son Johnny is going to be like a great. I'm not anointing him as a great shooter, but that little sucker can shoot it. He didn't get this trait from his dad, and I'm glad, because his dad missed 2 in a row, and I wasn't shooting the next one. Johnny will miss 42 in a row, and the next one is going up with zero hesitation. That's a gift and a talent. and not everybody has that. You know, Rain Smith could miss 20 in a row. Give it to me. The next one. Have you ever seen Isaac hesitate? He didn't make it. Everybody's like, well, his mentality. They're the type of guys you got to tell them, you don't want them to shoot, take them out because they're shooting. Closer in baseball, you know, like big stakes, big lights, ninth inning, crowd's going crazy. You come up, ball's in your hand. And if you're going to be a great closer, it's like a great shooter, you got to have the right temperament. Because sometimes you're going to throw one in the middle third, and the guy's going to smack one, and they're going to walk off, and they're going to go pour water bottles on each other, and you're going to walk off with your head down. Closers don't care. Give me the ball. So everybody keeps asking me about, like, Isaac don't need no confidence. The next one's going up. And you saw tonight, you saw a few go in, and he got going. That's how I want him to be.
Bag, you talked about, you know, you went 10-2 during non-conference.
Now, you got to earn it. You got to earn the right to do that. Like you know, Isaac McNeely, like, fingers bleed from the amount of shots that he shoots and his investment in his game. Rain Smith, like, some guys are early guys, some guys are late guys. But I would walk in, I get there crazy early. Boom, 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 balls bouncing in the morning. Rain Smith. You know, they earn it. Like I said, Johnny shoots, you know, 46 in a row. The next one's going up. You know, I don't know what he'll end up being and stuff like that. But there ain't no 7th graders is getting the shots up. That kid's getting up. Like, and that's the thing. I said, you got to earn the right to shoot those. And you know, so I want to make sure I talk about that. Those guys also they don't just become great shooters. They just don't fall out of the sky. They master their craft. And that doesn't matter what you're doing. It doesn't matter shooting. It doesn't matter if you're going to be a journalist, if you're going to be a head coach. Like, you got to put in the 10,000 hours, and then that 10,000 becomes 15,000 hours. You got to be passionate about your craft, and he does that. He works.
I was saying during your non-conference, you went 10-2. You talked about leaving some things out there. Where, you know, coming post-Christmas, where do some of those things you feel like you need to improve?
Yeah, we
into
talked about
play?
that. That was all the stuff at the Tennessee game. I mean, you go back to, you know, we had a flipped around assist-to-turnover ratio. We had a 1-to-2 assist-to-turnover ratio. You're not going to win many games on the road turning the ball over like that. You know, we went to Arkansas. We got out-rebounded, and then we fouled too much. Right? I mean, those are, if you had to pick the two things there, we put them at the free throw line, and they beat us up on the glass, and very few teams do that. But you can't go into a place like Tennessee and have 8 assists and 16 turnovers. And then you might say, oh, Mikel wasn't there, your point guard was there. There ain't no excuses. Play better. And that's on me, and that's on us. And, you know, we address those things when they don't go well, and I thought our guys responded well today.
With Mikel and Kobe being banged up these last couple games, have you seen guys like Adrian Woolley and Ryan Conwell kind of step up in terms of being primary ball handlers?
Yeah. I mentioned Javon too. I mean, I would say Isaac today. You know, those guys really need to step up and be, you know, facilitators. Ali Khalifa, he's another guy you can play through because of his ability to pass and stuff like that. But it's always good. It's always good to see guys that with that next man up mentality. And I thought, you know, Adrian for sure. You look at the last couple games, and, you know, early on everybody was asking me about Adrian. Yeah, I go, just wait, man. That cat's really, really good. And he was a monster at Tennessee, and I thought he played really, really well again tonight.
Yeah, you're probably going to want to watch the tape, but I'm just wondering, just kind of your first thoughts on, like, those lineups that had both Ali and Sananda in them. Just kind of, and then also towards the end of the game too, like, you know, seemed like you were going with a ton of height. Is it kind of?
I mean, that's because we had 600 guards out.
Right.
Like, it's called the advantage of no choice. Like, I mean, you have Mikel out, you have Kobe out, and guys can't play 40 minutes. So, I mean, we had some lineups with, I think, Javon, Kanai, and maybe 2 of those bigs. I mean, we play hard. We weren't going to change what we do. We're going to continue to crash the glass. We're going to continue to run the floor, and those guys get tired. And it was like, there was some point it was just like, put 5 guys out there, we'll figure it out. So, you know, it was by necessity because, you know, you're short 2 guards.
But I'm just thinking about, you know, like, you want your centers to be the hubs of the offense, right? But then you have, you know, having like having a two of them out there,
Mhm.
right? Just like how does that kind of like does it do anything differently for your system being able to have those guys out there and playing off each other?
Yeah. In our system, a lot of times the hub has the ball in his hands. We have screening and cutting off of it. But, Sananda's a great screener, skilled guy. Those guys stepped in and did their job at a really good level, and I thought it was good.
Coach, kind of along those lines, when you do have more big guys out there like that, I know you like to have that element of randomness to your offense. Does that structurally change a little bit when you have
that was
the
kind of
big
the
guys?
question I think I was trying to answer based on what he just asked, but not really. I always say to those guys, like, be a star in your role and know your function. Don't try to change your function out on the floor. I mean, you could work to change your function behind the scenes and in the off season, but be great at what you are. When we have two bigs out there like that, we got two elite screeners. We got two guys that that team's got to make a decision whether they're going to switch pick and rolls, because most people do with the four, and now you're going to have two guys in coverage. There's not as much shooting spacing out there, but there's advantages you have when you have big guys out there. I mean, obviously our rebounding gets better. We don't have as much ball handling and things like that, not as much shooting, but we got two hellacious screeners out there and two really, really good offensive rebounders. But still play within the confines and the structure of our offense, but they kind of do what they're good at, if that makes sense.
Pat, along those same lines, do you see this as going forward using the same sort of philosophy about with the bigs and going
I don't want to go forward with the philosophy of having 2 point guards out. No, I want to be as far away from that as possible. It's really nice when we got our two primary playmakers in the game together.
Yeah. I meant more of the emphasis on going inside and on the bigs.
Yeah, I mean, we always want to go inside. Always. I always tell you guys, like, everybody says shoot threes. Like, there's different ways to get the ball inside. Drive it in there, right? Pass it in there off the cut. Throw it in there off post-ups. Like, ultimately, statistically, analytically, a quote-unquote post-up, old-school post-up with the NBA playing the organ music, like dun, 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 and Charles Oakley catching it and, like, backing you down 600. That's not the most efficient offense, and from a points per shot perspective, it's not. But, like, you know what is? A shot at the rim. So all day long, I'll take a post play or see on a guy close to the basket where all they can do is foul you, you're going to score. I'll take that all day long. But you can get post touches off pick and rolls, right? And being good, getting gravity going toward the rim on your rolls. And then when you have your shooting, pulling the gravity the other way out, people have to make a decision. If you make sure it's a threat that you're going to throw those guys the ball in the roll, now they help in, now you kick out, now you get shots. So running stuff for them, post-ups, getting the ball to them off the pick and roll, those guys going and getting their own stinking passes on the offensive glass. I just think getting those guys a little bit more involved, and we did that today.
Pat, with the holiday break, how confident are you that it's going to be enough time for Michael to get healthy?
I have no idea. I mean, I'm not God, so I don't know. But we're hoping that time off will allow him to heal. And from a medical standpoint, I don't know the answers. There was zero chance that I was ever going to go to medical school, because I got a 4.0 one time, but then you added my first semester and second semester together and came to a 4.0. I'm kidding. I was actually a pretty good student, but I know nothing about the medical stuff. So hope he makes progress over the next couple days, and hoping to have him and Kobe back when we get back from break.
Yeah, just to kind of follow up on that, he was out there getting shots up before the game. Like, has he been able to do anything in practice, or is it more so just, again, treatment and recovery?
He hasn't been able to do contact.